Let me ask you something. Is your ambition actually helping you, or is it secretly holding you hostage? Today we're going to unpack a really sneaky trap our minds can fall into, productivity addiction. And look, this isn't about shaming hard work at all. It's about understanding when that healthy drive we all have crosses a line and becomes a harmful obsession. So let's dive in.
Just think about it for a second. The last time you tried to truly relax, were you actually relaxing? Or was there that little voice in the back of your head just nagging you about all the things you should be doing? Answering emails, cleaning the house, working on that side hustle. If you've ever felt guilty for just doing nothing, you're definitely going to want to stick around for this.
So what we're talking about here is officially called productivity addiction. It's this compulsive, almost uncontrollable need to achieve, where your brain literally gets hooked on the rush of getting things done. I want you to think of it like the same reward-seeking behavior you see in things like gambling or shopping. And this is important. It's not a character flaw. It's a really powerful psychological loop.
And hey, this is not some rare niche thing. Studies coming out of places like Norway and Hungary suggest this affects about 7 to 8% of people. And it's especially common among high achievers. So if any of this is ringing a bell for you, you are for sure not alone. Okay, so how do we even fall into this trap in the first place? Well, a huge part of the answer is actually in the world around us. Let's take a look at how our own culture kind of sets the stage for this whole addiction.
I mean, we live in a world of hustle culture, right? You see it all over social media, this glorification of the grind, the all-nighters, this idea that constantly working is some kind of badge of honor. It makes overworking seem heroic, and it completely normalizes the very behaviors that feed directly into this addictive cycle.
And then the massive shift to remote work happened.
For so many of us, this just completely erased the physical lines between our work and our life. All of a sudden, your living room is your office, your kitchen is the conference room, and the workday just never seems to end. It amplified all that pressure, and for some, turned productivity into a full-blown obsession. All right, so we've got the external pressures down, but what's going on inside our heads? Why does checking that item off the to-do list feel so incredibly good? Let's get into the hidden psychology of it all. So what you're seeing here is this incredibly powerful but actually really simple dopamine loop that's right at the heart of this addiction. When you complete a task, your brain releases dopamine. That's the feel-good chemical. And that creates this little rush of satisfaction. It's the same basic thing that makes scrolling social media or leveling up in a video game so addictive. Your brain just wants more of it, and that drives you to seek out the next task for another hit. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? Your brain starts treating getting stuff done like a drug. You're literally chasing that buzz. But here's the really crucial part. Like any addiction, it escalates. Over time, you need bigger and bigger accomplishments to get that same level of satisfaction, and that is exactly what leads to the burnout cycle.
Yeah, it might feel good in the short term, but this constant hustle, it comes at a really high price. So what are the long-term consequences? What do you actually end up losing when you feel like you're always winning at work?
And the price is steep. We're talking about way more than just feeling tired here. We're talking about full-on burnout, that chronic exhaustion and cynicism. This addiction, it strains our relationships, it weakens our immune systems, and it can even lead to serious heart problems. And on the inside, it just erodes our self-worth, leaving behind this profound sense of emptiness and lost joy. This is a feeling we see over and over again in people's personal stories. They describe having all the markers of success. The promotions, the salary, the achievements, but they feel completely hollow inside. The very thing they were chasing ended up costing them their own happiness. And this table here, it just illustrates that stark reality. You see the lawyer closing these huge deals but ending up exhausted and cynical. Or the entrepreneur building a massive agency, but at the cost of their health and relationships. And then the achiever, so afraid of wasting a single second that they built a successful life that was just devoid of joy. The pattern is crystal clear. The win always comes at a devastating hidden cost. So, is it all just doom and gloom? No, absolutely not. The good news is that once you recognize the game your brain is playing, you can actually start to rewire it. This next part is all about reclaiming your life and learning to work smarter, not just harder.
The very first step is this fundamental mindset shift. So instead of focusing purely on your output, you shift to focusing on fit, like, does this work actually align with my values? Instead of feeling guilty about resting, you start to see it as a priority, something that's essential for performance. And instead of just chasing praise, you start seeking genuine feedback so you can actually grow.
And the crucial point is to take action. This isn't just theory, it's about practice. You can start by setting firm boundaries, like a hard cutoff for work every day. No work after 7 p.m., period. You can actively prioritize rest, and even track your rest wins, like having a family dinner with no phones allowed. Seeking feedback from friends you trust or even a therapist can give you that essential outside perspective. And finally, you can experiment with a totally new focus.
And that leads to this really powerful idea. What if, instead of a to-do list that's just full of tasks, you started tracking one joy signal every single day? Now, this could be anything: time spent with your kids, a walk in nature, reading a good book. By tracking what brings you genuine joy, you actually begin to rewire your brain's reward system to value fulfillment over just mere output.
So, I'll leave you with this question. Just remember, productivity is a tool. It is not the goal of your life. Don't let it steal your joy. So, what is one joy signal that you can choose to track this week? Because it's by starting small that we build a more balanced and ultimately a much more fulfilling life. Thanks for tuning in.